because I'm trying to learn something from this. There's so little I know about the law and government, apparently, as this process is going on. One, I thought subpoena meant something. I thought that if you were subpoenaed, that you had to show up when you were asked to show up. And so when I talk about bribery, I think the problem is you haven't heard directly from the president that it was me that said you had to withhold the money. The reason we don't have that evidence is because the people that he would have told that directly to, Giuliani or Pompeo or Mick Mulvaney, because the subpoena, the president saying don't show up and don't testify, and they're going to take it to court, and by the time they actually have to testify, if they get in the...
It's just he explained that it's a very long process, and they're being very obstreperous about it, and so it takes a very long time to for the wheels of justice to work, unfortunately. So they've already appealed it, and it took 8 months to get an answer, and then they'll just appeal it again to a higher court.
So by the time they finish, we'll be in the next election.
Yeah, we're talking
and God
years.
knows what damage he'll do, and how many other countries he'll ask to interfere in our 2020 election. And it's a very dangerous thing.
And to Abby's point, remember Susan McDougal? She was instructed during the Whitewater scandal not to comply with the subpoena. Republicans called her on that, and for 18 months she served in prison.
Yes,
she was in prison for 18 months.
Can you say that one more time?
She was in prison for 18 months for flouting the subpoena.
She didn't
not responding to a subpoena. And when I was a federal prosecutor, you didn't respond to my subpoena. You were like this, I mean, that's what we did. And so I was actually very surprised that people were instructed.
So why don't they lock them up? Why don't they lock them up?
I think it's because it's a congressional subpoena, and
it's not a criminal trial.
Yeah, they didn't do it that way, and it's not a grand jury proceeding, and it's a political proceeding. But I think what bothered me the most is you saw Republicans attacking the process and not necessarily putting forth a defense to the facts. And I wanted to see that. This is congressional oversight. This is in the Constitution. And so if you can't defend the facts, I don't understand why this has become so partisan. Did this president abuse his power? Did this president sacrifice an ally? Did he sacrifice an ally? Because Ukrainians died because they did not have this military aid. Did he sacrifice an ally so that he could cheat on an election? That's a pretty nonpartisan, I think, fact. And I didn't hear a defense of that. All I heard was this is a sham. This is a sham.
Yeah, you have
time. Whoop.
Yes, you got it.
So sometimes I go over time. Okay, we all see this through the lens of our own. It's natural. Every American sees it through the lens of their partisanship. My biggest problem in all of this, and please don't let all of your heads explode, is the vilification of Ukrainians in general. That all of a sudden I'm hearing people like Ted Cruz say, well, Ukraine interfered in our election. You need to go back to 2014 and see the revolution of hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians against the expansion into Crimea by Putin. Many Ukrainians want freedom. Vladimir Klitschko, who's the mayor of Kiev, went out, Google it, because I don't think people really maybe were paying attention or understand the gravity of it, screaming for freedom against Putin. And the idea that I'm now turning on Fox News and Tucker Carlson saying that what's wrong, why should I care about Ukraine? Why should I care what Russia does? That is some, A-level gaslighting, and I am not here for it. And maybe because my priorities probably are not the same as the rest of the
we know BS when we hear it.
Yes, this is fine.
We all call BS when we hear it.
I don't know if the Ukrainian people and the annexing of Crimea has always been everyone's #1 geopolitical issue. I think maybe it is now, but I think a innate threat in every way to democracy and freedom globally is the gaslighting and the terminology that is used against the great Ukrainian people who do not want to be a part of Russia. And by the way, Putin without the Ukraine is just a gas station. With the Ukraine, he's a superpower.
Exactly, because they're an ally to the U.S.
An ally.
And they're an ally to the U.S.